You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Saturday, July the 4th, 2020. The Yankees and Blue Jays played each other in an AL East matchup, and the Yankees won by a score of 6-3. The Yankees got 2 home runs in the top of the first inning, which yielded them 5 runs. They had the lead throughout the entire game. The Blue Jays were chipping away, but the Yankees held on to the lead, and they ended up winning by 3 runs. Jay Happ got the win, Ryan Barucki got the loss, and Aroldis Chapman earned his 18th save of the season. AL Central Baseball between the Twins and the Indians. 7-2 the final score of this game. The Twins got 5 of their 7 runs in the first inning. The Indians got their only 2 runs in the bottom of the second. Fernando Romero got the win, Mike Clevenger got the loss, and Trevor May earned his first save of the season. Another AL Central game between the Royals and the Tigers. 11-2 was the final score of this game, and the Tigers got all the runs they needed in the bottom of the first inning. 6 runs in that bottom of the first inning. Daniel Norris got the win, Jorge Lopez got the loss, and Ivan Nova earned his 3rd save of the year. The White Sox and Rangers played each other, close game, but the White Sox came out on top by a 6-4 score, though the Rangers out-hit the White Sox 13-12. Dallas Keuchel got the win, Rafael Montero got the loss, and Alex Colome earned his 24th save of the season. The Phillies and Mariners played each other in an interleague game, and the Phillies came out on top by a score of 4-3. The Phillies scored first in the top of the 5th inning, then the Mariners tied it in the bottom of the 6th. Then each team scored in the 8th, but the Phillies got 3 runs as compared to the Mariners' 2, and the Phillies were able to squeak away with a 1-run win. Sir Anthony Dominguez got the win, Brennan got the loss, Hector Neris earned his 21st save of the year. The Orioles got blanked by the Athletics, 6-0, the final score of this game. The Athletics scored 4 runs in the bottom of the first and 2 runs in the bottom of the second. Chris Bassett got his 7th win of the year in this one on the mound, and Keegan Aiken now 0-2 since being called up. Another interleague game, the Angels and Braves played each other, 7-4 the final score of this game. The Braves came out on top. They had back-to-back 3-run innings in the 4th and 5th, and they didn't give up the lead after that point. Sean Newcomb got the win, Dylan Bundy got the loss, and Will Smith earned his 29th save of the year. Another rematch of the 2019 World Series, and the Astros won again. 12-3 the final score of this game, much more lopsided than it was yesterday. But there was a lot of offense in this one. The Nationals got all 3 of their runs in the 5th inning. Meanwhile, the Astros scored their first 3 runs in the first inning. They put up another crooked number in the 5th, scoring 4 runs, and they came out on top by 9 runs. Jose Urquidy got the win, Joe Ross got the loss, and Brad Peacock now has 1 save this season. The Mets and Padres played each other, and the Mets came out on top 5-2, the final score of this game. It was close in the early goings, but then the Mets broke the game open with a 2-run 6th and a 2-run 7th inning, and they ended up winning by 3 runs. Michael Wacha got the win, Zach Davies got the loss, and Edwin Diaz earned his 25th save of the season. The Brewers and Cardinals played each other in an NL Central matchup, and the Cardinals won by a score of 5-2. This was quite an even offensive game. Each team had 10 hits, but the Cardinals found a way to edge the Brewers by 3 runs. Miles Michaelis got the win, Brett Anderson got the loss, and Giovanni Gallegos now has 31 saves this season. Interleague play between the Red Sox and the Pirates, 7-3 was the final score of this game, and there was early offense in this one. The Red Sox got 3 runs in the top of the first inning. The Pirates scored 2 in the bottom of the first inning. Then they got a run in the 3rd to tie the game up. The Red Sox took the lead again with a 1-run top of the 5th inning, and then they broke the game open with a 3-run top of the 8th, and the Pirates could not respond. Hector Velasquez got the win, and Trevor Williams got the loss. The Rays and Cubs played each other, another interleague game, and the Cubs came out on top by 2 runs. 4-2 was the final score of this game, and each team scored in pairs. The Rays got their only 2 runs in the top of the 2nd inning. Meanwhile, the Cubs had back-to-back 2-run innings, a 2-run inning in the 7th and a 2-run inning in the 8th. Ryan Tepera got the win, Colin Poche got the loss, and Craig Kimbrell now has 31 saves this season. The Reds topped the Diamondbacks by an 8-3 score in this game, and the Reds got 6 of their 8 runs in the top of the 2nd. Anthony DeSclafani got the win, and Zach Gallen got the loss. NL West Baseball was played, and the Rockies won in a lopsided victory. 10-4 was the final score of this game. The game was tied after the 2nd inning. The Rockies took the lead in the bottom of the fourth. It was 3-1. Then each team had a 3-run fifth inning, and then the Rockies broke the game open in the bottom of the eighth with a 4-run inning. John Gray got the win, Derek Rodriguez got the loss, and Jake McGee now has one save this season. And the Marlins topped the Dodgers by a 6-2 score. Jose Urena got the win, Clayton Kershaw got the loss, and Brandon Kinsler now has 23 saves this season with the Marlins. Let's take a look at standings now, starting in the American League East. The New York Yankees still at the top with a 53-36 record. They beat the Blue Jays now twice in a row, so the Blue Jays have fallen to 3 games back of the Yankees with a 50-39 record. The Red Sox have moved into third place in this division after winning 9 games in a row. They're 44-45, 9 games back of the Yankees. The Rays have fallen to fourth place. They're 44-47, 10 games back. And the Orioles still in last place and still the only team in this division without 40 wins. They're 37-53, and they're 16.5 games back of the Yankees. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins beat the Indians today. They're still at the top of this division, and they have the best record in baseball, 62-28. The White Sox in second place with a 53-37 record. They're 9 games back of the Twins. The Indians lost to the Twins today. They're 50-40, 12 games back. The Tigers are 35-54. They're 26.5 games back. They beat the Royals today, and the Royals, who lost, now have 58 losses and 31 wins. They're 30.5 games back of first place. In the American League West, the Oakland Athletics still lead with a 55-35 record. The Astros have won 4 games in a row, so they're keeping pace with the A's. 51-37 is their record. They're 3 games back. Then you have the Angels, 11.5 games back with a 43-46 record. The Rangers in fourth place with a 37-53 record, 18 games back. And the Mariners continue to struggle in this season. They're 31-59, 24 games back of the A's for first place. And here are the wild card standings. The White Sox have the top spot with a 53-37 record. The Astros closely behind with a 51-37 record. The Blue Jays, after losing 2 straight to the Yankees, have fallen out of that second wild card spot. They're now a game and a half back of the Astros. The Indians also relatively in contention, though they did not win today. They're 50-40, 2 games back of a wild card spot. And every other team in the American League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 7.5 games back of a wild card spot. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals have lost 4 games in a row, though they've still retained the first place spot in this division. 51-39 is their record. The Marlins have been playing well recently. They've moved within 2.5 games of the Nationals. Their record is 48-41. The Braves also doing relatively well. 47-42 is their record, 3.5 games back. And both the Phillies and the Mets won today, so they're still deadlocked for fourth place with the same record, 42-47, and they're both 8.5 games back of the Nationals. And every National League East team besides the Nationals today won. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals lead with a 52-38 record. The Cubs, the next best team, with a 46-44 record. They're 6 games back, and they beat the Rays today. The Brewers are 42-46. They lost to the Cardinals. They're 9 games back of the division lead. The Reds are 37-53, 15 games back. They've won 2 games in a row, and the Pirates have gotten cold again. They've lost 4 in a row and 7 of their last 10. They're 32-56, 19 games back of the Cardinals for first place. And in the National League West, the Dodgers continuing to dominate, though they lost to the Marlins today. They're 61-29. The Diamondbacks, the next best team in this division, doesn't even have 50 wins yet. 49-40 is their record. They're 11.5 games back of the Dodgers. The Padres have lost 8 of their last 10 games. They're 45-44, 15.5 games back. The Rockies, 36-52. They're 24 games back after beating the Giants today. And the Giants are 34-55 after losing to the Rockies today. Now 26.5 games back of the Dodgers for first place. And the wildcard standings look like this. The Diamondbacks have the top spot with a 49-40 record. The Marlins closely behind, just 1 game back of that first wildcard spot with a 48-41 record. Then you have the Braves, who have moved within a game of a wildcard spot. They're 47-42. The Cubs, 46-44, 2.5 games back. The Padres moving further away, but still close enough to be considered as one of the contending wildcard teams. Their record's 45-44, and they're 3 games back of the Marlins for that second wildcard spot. And every other team in the National League has a winning percentage under 500, and it's at least 5.5 games back of a wildcard spot. And let's take a look at league leaders now, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera, out of his slump a bit. He's at the top of this list with a 341 average. Miguel Andujar, the next best with a 335 average, and Chris Davis, third best with a 332. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt still leads with a 357 average. 3 points behind him is Jonathan Villar with a 354 average, and Christian Yelich, third best with a 342. Hits leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar still leads with 123. And there's a three-way tie for second best. Miguel Cabrera, DJ LeMahieu, and JD Martinez all have 117 hits. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 133 hits. Paul Goldschmidt, the next best, with 116. Nolan Arenado and Ronald Acuna Jr. tied for third best with 108. At bat leaders in the American League, Jose Abreu has 370. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 376. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon up to 33. Jose Abreu and Whit Merrifield tied for second best with 28. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 49 behind him. Christian Yelich with 31. Nicholas Castellanos, Trey Turner, Juan Soto, and Ketel Marte all tied for third best with 26. Triples leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has 7. Jose Altuve with 6. Adam Eaton, Stephen Piscotty, and Whit Merrifield each have 5. In the National League, Jonathan Villar is up to 12 triples now, 5 behind him. Victor Robles with 7. Cody Bellinger, Hunter Pence, and Chris Bryant all tied for third best with 5. Home run leaders in the American League, Justin Upton, still the leader with 32. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., the next best with 27. JD Martinez, Josh Donaldson, and Chris Davis tied for third best with 26. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. up to 31. Paul Goldschmidt, the next best with 30. And Freddie Freeman is third best with 25. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has the most with 83. Chris Davis, the next best, with 76. And Nelson Cruz rounds up the top 3 with 71. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt, the leader, with 84. Freddie Freeman, the next best, with 70. Cody Bellinger and Christian Yelich tied for third best with 67. Run scored leaders in the American League, JD Martinez has 69. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 75. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi up to 20. D. Gordon and Malik Smith are second and third. Gordon has 19 and Smith has 18, both those players on the Mariners. In the National League, Starling Marte, the leader with 30. Trey Turner, one behind him with 29, and Jonathan Villar rounds up the top 3 with 22. Walks leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman has the most with 57. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins has the most with 62. On-base percentage leaders in the American League, Chris Davis has the highest with a 418. Carlos Santana 4 points behind him with a 414. And Alex Bregman, third best with a 413. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt leads with a 451. Christian Yelich second best with a 444. And Ronald Acuna Jr. third best with a 421. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson at the top with a 645. Justin Upton the next best with a 630, and Max Kepler third best with a 624. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 717, as does Paul Goldschmidt. They're each at the top. And Christian Yelich is third best with a 658. On base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson has a 1.056. Chris Davis with a 1.041. JD Martinez and Justin Upton close to a 1.016. They're 3 and 4 on this list. Everybody else in the American League has a OPS under 1,000. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt leads with a 1.168. Ronald Acuna Jr. second best with a 1.138. Christian Yelich third best with a 1.101. And Jonathan Villar fourth best with a 1.007. Everybody else in the National League has an OPS under 1,000. Moving on to pitcher leaderboards, starting with wins leaders in the American League. Jake Odorizzi, Kenta Maeda, and Hyunjin Ryu all have 10 wins, and they're all at the top of this leaderboard. In the National League, Walker Buehler leads with 12. Steven Strasburg, the next best, with 10. And Jimmy Nelson, David Price, and Madison Bumgarner tied for third best with 9. Losses leaders in the American League, Chris Bassett and Kenta Maeda at the top. They are still undefeated on the mound this season. Chris Bassett just got his 7th win today. In the National League, Carlos Martinez has lost the least amount of games among pitchers that qualify in the National League, with just 1 loss on the season so far. Saves leaders in the American League, Liam Hendricks up to 31, Brad Hand the next best with 30, and Roberto Ozuna third best with 28. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos and Craig Kimbrell lead with 31. Kenley Jansen is third best with 30. ERA leaders in the American League, Jake Odorizzi has the lowest with a 2.48, Kenta Maeda the next best with a 2.49, and Daniel Norris is third best with a 2.67. In the National League, Marcus Stroman under a 2, he has the lowest in the NL with a 1.89, Walker Buehler the next lowest with a 2.17, and Steven Strasburg rounds up the top 3 with a 2.37. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers, Gio Gonzalez is allowed the least amount with 7. In the National League, Marcus Stroman and Robbie Ray have allowed the least amount with 6. Shutout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka have 3 shutouts on the year. Jake Odorizzi, third best with 2 complete game shutouts this season. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has shut out 4 games on his own. Each of these pitchers have 2 complete game shutouts: Walker Buehler, Merrill Kelly, Aaron Nola, and Zach Wheeler. Strikeout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole has 152, Lucas Giolito the next best with 138, and Jake Odorizzi third best with 127. In the National League, Steven Strasburg and Clayton Kershaw at the top with 148, and Robbie Ray rounds out the top 3 with 133. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka have each thrown 3 complete games. Jake Odorizzi and Aaron Savale have each thrown 2 complete games this season. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has completed 4 games. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola tied for second best with 3 complete games thrown this year. Innings pitched leaders in the American League, Hyunjin Ryu has the most, 121 even. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has pitched 129 innings so far this year. Walks allowed among American League pitchers, Carlos Carrasco not at 20 yet. He has the least amount of walks with 19. In the National League, Brett Anderson has the least amount of walks with 24. Whip leaders in the American League, Jake Odorizzi has the lowest with a 107, Carlos Carrasco the second lowest with a 109, and Hyunjin Ryu the third lowest with a 110. In the National League, Aaron Nola is at a 101, Marcus Stroman at a 102, and Steven Strasburg third best with a 105. Pitching war leaders in the American League, Shane Bieber has the highest with a 2.9, Jake Odorizzi the next best with a 2.8, and Carlos Carrasco third best with a 2.7. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has a 3.2, Steven Strasburg at a 3.1, and Clayton Kershaw has reached the 3 plateau. He's at a 3 even, third best on this leaderboard. Batting war leaders in the American League, Marcus Semien has a 5.2, Yohan Moncada has a 5.1, and DJ LeMahieu third best with a 4.8. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 6.5, Christian Yelich second best with a 6.1, and Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top 3 with a 5.7. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Saturday, July the 4th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.